All right, so hey everybody, welcome to VCTalk. Today I'm here with George Georgiadis from EverCurious VC, and he is founder and partner from this fund. My name is Giordano. Everybody, you can call me Gio for simplicity. And basically, VCTalk is a podcast I recently started with the purpose to share insights from great VCs operating in the space and learn something from their experience. So thanks a lot, George, for taking the time to do this conversation with me. It's a big pleasure, and please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, for the invitation, and the pleasure is all mine. Happy to make an intro about EverCurious. We are an early stage deep tech fund. Um, Deep tech, what does it's actually like a buzzword in the meantime, but what is actually meaning for us is that we
Yeah,
want to invest in like defensible companies, usually at the intersection between hardware and software, and companies that most of the times are coming either from academic scientific research or like from the previous experience, technical and scientific experience of founders.
sure.
And they have something like really novel that they want to translate it into business.
Yeah.
And this is defensible. And so all our thesis is around like defensibility of the technology, having a very, very good team.
Yeah.
And we're more than glad to be very early, meaning based on our strategy, we're not having like a revenue target or something like that. We want to be first check investors. We want to partner with such kind of founders and work shoulder to shoulder closely with them throughout
Yeah.
like the first steps. Um, when it comes to the sectors, we have like different areas that are our sweet spot. We are pretty much agnostic, I would like to say, like in the field of deep tech, but sectors like clean tech, robotics and automation,
Yeah.
mm, are more close to our sweet spot. Space tech, in the meantime, is something that is becoming more and more interesting. So
Hmm.
glad to discuss about this as well. So yeah, and in a nutshell, also to my background, um, the interesting fact is that both my co-GP and myself, we know each other like from the university times. We are both mechanical
Well,
engineers
yeah.
that
Yeah.
turned investors in their previous careers. So yeah, mechanical engineer in background. Um, where I started in Greece, then I left, went to Germany, worked for a decade at the headquarters of Volkswagen in
Yeah.
Wolfsburg. In parallel, did also my PhD in manufacturing technologies. So in my first years, I was pretty much focusing on really hardware engineering stuff.
Yeah.
But step by step, I transitioned to more managerial roles, and I was in the technology strategy of the group. So
Hmm.
this is where I gathered experience when it comes to investment, startups, etc. And then I decided to transition full on, do this full on transition to my career and focus.
Investment. Pretty cool. So you mentioned you're from Greece, right? Originally, you're born in Greece. That's awesome. And so basically, what was the inspiration to start in mechanical engineer? Was it
Hmm.
like a there are these type of options. So I chose mechanical because I also did mechanical engineer, and back when I was younger, I wasn't 100% aware of what actually I was doing. I felt like a passion for technology, but it wasn't 100% clear decision on my side. What about your?
I mean, I think I would like to say simple and straightforward. As a kid, I was super passionate for Lego.
Sure.
As a teenager, I was super passionate for cars.
Yeah.
This
Yeah. Yeah.
love, like into constructing stuff, etc., translated into like becoming a mechanical engineer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the interesting fact is that like my family or like my family circle, no one of them is like engineer.
Yeah.
So they're coming more from the art like sector. But
Yeah.
still, I think that this kind of like I found myself into this because it combines like science and creativity to some extent. And okay, simply said, being a car lover, you want to become an engineer, full
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. 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 I also grew up when I was a child. I was super passionate and obsessed with Formula One, and there was like Ferrari, like the Italian brand, and Schumacher. I also had the poster of Schumacher in my room, so yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, one of my initial goals was to work for Ferrari. Then
Nice.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, super cool. So after mechanical engineer, basically you moved directly to Germany, Munich, or like what was the path for you?
Actually, like after mechanical engineering, I went directly to Germany to
Okay,
start working at Volkswagen in Wolfsburg and in parallel doing my PhD.
sure.
Actually, like what motivated me back at that time is that, I mean, during my school years, I was in a German school in Athens. So I was
Okay,
also familiar with the language, the culture, etc. And I wanted to live and work in Germany.
okay.
So like my initial idea was, okay, I want to go to Germany for a master's or something like that.
Yeah,
But I found out that there is an opportunity to work in a company and in parallel do your PhD, what we call like industrial PhD. So I said, okay, this combines, in the theory, it's the best of both worlds. So
yeah.
let's give it a try. At the end of the day, I don't think that it is the best of both worlds, if you ask me now, because
About Germany, you mean?
known about doing PhD and working at a
Oh yeah,
company
yeah,
because you cannot focus neither on your PhD nor on focusing neither on like your job at the
yeah.
company. So you're always juggling with many two balls in the air.
Sure.
So I think it's a bit tricky. But at the end of the day, I mean, in my case, I was lucky, and I really mean lucky because I know that super competent people
Yeah.
in the company that had like similar path to me, and at the end of the day, it was difficult for them to finalize their dissertation and PhD. So I think the good thing is that what I developed in my PhD, it had a very straightforward use in the cars. So it was
Yeah.
used practically in the next generation of the cars. So
Yeah.
this was a success story that created a very, very solid foundation and basis for me
Hmm.
to make it to the next step,
Got it.
which is me like evolving into more like managerial roles.
Sure. Got it. Got it. And and you joined Volkswagen because it opened up that opportunity, or you was really you were planning to work for them even before?
I was actually, I mean, I really wanted to work for an automotive OEM.
Sure.
And I think that Volkswagen back at that time was the largest OEM worldwide.
Yeah.
So even if Wolfsburg does not sound the most attractive city, the fact that everything is built around Volkswagen and you
Yeah.
have something like just so huge in scale, etc.,
Hmm.
actually that creates a wow impression.
Hmm.
And I think that this impressed me a lot, and I really wanted to
Got it.
start being
Got
there.
it. Got it. Got it. Awesome. And basically, what was about your PhD? Like, which
Okay.
specialization?
Yeah, interesting question. So I'm trying to explain this without becoming too technical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the cars, there are specific parts, metal parts of the cars
Sure.
that are designed in order to protect the passengers in case of crash. So these parts usually are a bit thicker and
Yeah.
made out of very, very hard steel, practically, with a novel manufacturing method. So
Hmm.
what we wanted to achieve is that use the same method, but try to make the components a bit thinner so that we save weight. And by
Sure.
saving weight, you save also CO2 emissions, etc. So we wanted to come down from the minimum thickness that we could manufacture back at that time was 1 millimeter, and we wanted to come down to 0.5 millimeter.
Yeah.
So it sounds like not much, but at the end of the day, it makes a big impact
Yeah.
because you can use this method and like reduce the thickness of several components within the car. So
Hmm.
you at the end of the day save something like 100 kilo,
Yeah.
which is
But did you
important.
have to change the type of material you were using to achieve this
Same
damage?
material, and this is was also the huge challenge. Same material, but then you had to change
What was the material like? Aluminum?
steel, steel,
Steel.
sheet
Okay.
metal, steel,
Hmm.
and it's actually a manufacturing process where you during the process you're not only like forming your component, but you're also changing the microstructure,
Yeah.
making the steel really really hard. So yeah,
Oh, it was more like a production issue because it was like very smaller or
it had like two main dimensions. The one is exactly as you said, production issue because the thinner the steel, you have like less material, so it loses the heat.
yeah.
We have to protect the component to keeping it at high temperature during the
Sure.
process. So the one was like most had to do more with the process. The second dimension had to do with the formability, because it's more difficult to deform a component that is so thin
Yeah.
without having cracks or
Without
weaknesses.
breaking, etc. Yeah. Got it. Super cool. So basically, your how long was your PhD? Like couple of years or
It took
only on
4 years.
this problem, specific
Yeah,
problem?
it took
Wow.
me 4 years actually.
Okay.
Uh, we started like using the components and doing the first proper tests after 3 years, and the components were ready for production at scale after 5 years.
Sure.
And this was also the point where I also did my first transition from like being, I would say, an engineer towards transitioning to first like innovations management and then
Yeah.
to product management of cars, being responsible for all the outer skin components of T-Roc, the
Okay.
SUV plugin. Yeah.
And these new component had success, so you were able
Yeah.
to incorporate these. So are these still used today or new
Yes. Yes.
technology? Oh wow, that's super
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, the technology itself, yes, yes, yes.
Awesome.
Different
And
geographies, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think that this is what I liked in the automotive industry. Like, you can feel that a small part of yourself
yeah,
is in the cars, right? Mm.
contributed to some pieces in cars. Yeah, sounds great. And so basically, so you mentioned 10 years at Volkswagen with your PhD, and basically you made the decision to transition into investing. I mean, what was the reasoning there? I mean, what was the spark?
Yeah.
That,
I mean, I'm taking a step back. I mean, during my PhD, I was like focusing really much on technology innovation. I liked it, but I
hmm
didn't see myself as the person that could stay throughout his career at a really technical, technological level.
Sure.
So then I did like innovations management. I liked it. Then I did project management and I didn't like it, to be
Okay.
honest. Like I learned a lot, many, many lessons, but
hmm
at the same time, I felt that it was not like intellectually challenging for me.
Sure.
At some point, after Dieselgate, which was like a huge issue, of course, at Volkswagen, Volkswagen
Oh
took a
yeah. I
decision
remember that.
to centralize the decision making for new technologies. So I said that, okay, technology strategy as a field sounds very, very interesting to me
Yeah.
because it combines innovation with management and trying to apply this. So this can be actually, in this case, the best of both worlds. Let's give it a try.
hmm
This was my simple or simplistic like way of thinking back at that time.
Yeah.
So going to the strategy, I had the opportunity, I had a very interesting interview with the person in charge.
Yeah.
Honestly, like one of the best interviews I ever had because
Okay.
the question was not a typical interview. It's like, okay,
It was more relational. Yeah.
come over, let's have a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm going to like we're going to interact with each other more hours per day as I see my wife. So
Yeah.
we have to understand each other. So this was his point. And very, very like cool person, Dr. Anderson. And I joined the team. And I really like this kind of like in the strategy, I really found myself in
hmm
kind of combination of both worlds. And in the strategy, of course, we had like a lot of interaction with startups, etc., new
Yeah.
technology, seeing them both from, I would say, like corporate strategy perspective, but also from a potential investor's perspective.
Yeah.
So this was like my first touch point with this world,
Yeah.
and I really found myself in it.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. That's super cool.
Uh,
Uh,
And
yeah.
one thing to add, sorry, Joe, one thing to add in this case is that, I mean, when it comes to Volkswagen or such a large corporates, I mean, it's always a cool brand that follows you throughout your career.
Yeah.
But the most important thing for me was that within the same group, in 10 years, I had the opportunity to see how production works, how new technologies in the production work, how
Yeah.
project management is, how strategies, how investments are. So I think all within the same group. And for me is that during this journey, I had
hmm
the opportunity to learn more about myself and really find out what motivates me most, what I really love
hmm
doing like in the next
Yeah.
years.
Got it. Yeah, I believe that is super important and great experience. And so basically, you were in a strategy, and then after this part, you said, you know what, I'm gonna create a fund, or
I can tell you, like, sometime, like when things matured, I was also playing around always again and again with the idea of creating something on my own.
Sure.
So I think that the entrepreneur in me woke up,
Hmm.
and like back at the time I had like two different opportunities, either joining two friends of mine in Hamburg, creating a startup that were more technical and that I would join them as a CEO, which was
Yeah.
super exciting for me, or trying something different but going back to Greece.
Yeah.
So those were like I would say like the personal motivation and angle comes in the game. So I said, okay, like let's give it a try. Let's go
Hmm.
back to Greece. Was also a turning point for me, like personally, because my son was born. So at the end of the day, it's a polyparametric like
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was consistent in the fact that I want to do something on my own, become
Hmm.
more entrepreneurial in what I'm doing, actually,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to give it a try. So I mean, the idea was that, okay, I said, I'm going back to Greece, but I will continue working across Europe with a pan-European approach because
Sure.
I think that this is in the meantime really deep in myself and to what I
Yeah.
really believe in. And
Yeah, I don't,
I,
I don't believe too much on also on the investment side on focusing too much on our geography. You just want to invest in the best entrepreneurs, no
yeah,
matter where they are. So yeah,
fully agree on this. And I think that for me, this was the point that actually I said, okay, I started doing some angel investments on my own.
sure.
At the same time, I worked for some scale ups for 6 months, 6 to 9 months as an interim strategy director, focusing on the go-to-market strategy,
Sure.
most of the times in the field of mobility and energy, like a
Hmm.
sector that I was more familiar with.
Yeah.
And after that, when things matured, I said, okay, now I feel confident that I can create something. I have also the capacity to raise a fund, which is also important.
Yeah.
Forget about the fundraising dimension. And the timing was pretty good because I was actually playing around with the idea either joining an existing fund as a late founder,
Sure.
practically, late co-founder, partner, whatever, like a fund that are would have been practically in this case in that at the fund one level,
Hmm.
or creating something from scratch,
Yeah.
greenfield. And the timing was really good because my co-GP, Alex, back at the time, he also came back to Greece from Switzerland, where he
Yeah.
has spent also a decade in Switzerland at CERN, medical startup, and then managing the venture part of the multifamily office in Zurich.
Hmm.
I think it worked really well that we joined forces because we know each other well. We have been friends for like 20 years. And the interesting part of it is that, of course, we didn't start straight away with the fund. We said, okay, man, we know each other really well. We are good friends, but let's try to work together.
Hmm.
So we did two M&A projects together. We
Okay.
did investments via SPVs, like deal by
Okay.
deal
Yeah. Yeah.
investments.
Yeah.
We did six such investments. And after we have done like practically our proof of concept, right? We
Yeah.
said, okay, now we are ready to make it to the next step. Let's
Yeah.
create
Yeah.
a,
Yeah. So you basically did six SPVs before.
yeah.
That I think that was also useful to you to create a thesis around what you actually
Of
were
course.
was going to be the fund.
I think in my opinion, it's like the best way to test the waters.
Yeah.
Might be a bit, I mean, okay, from an exit perspective is also very interesting because, okay,
Hmm.
you're exiting deal by deal, but at the same time, it has some administrational overhead and it's not an easy way to do it. There are in the meantime, like many platforms and things like that, where you can do it like online, but at the end of the day, it needs your attention.
Sure.
And if you have a fund where you have already secured all the capital you need, it's better in my opinion. Because the difficult thing, in my opinion, in the SPVs was that you're speaking with a founder
Yeah.
who you're not so sure about the amount that you can commit
Mm.
because
Yeah.
you don't know 100% the appetite of your investors. So
Yeah.
this thing was a bit tricky. It
Mm.
worked at the end of the day. Like with the investments we did, what were usually with tickets from 100 to 200K.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
But for me, it's something that you can do to test the waters. You can do if you want long term to be an angel investor or super angel or whatever.
Sure.
But if you want to institutionalize this really and
Hmm.
make a proper job out of it,
Yeah.
create a proper fund structure makes sense.
Yeah, 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 100%. So basically, your approach was with the founder, give me this allocation, then I will fill the max I
Yeah.
can through the network, basically.
But what if you raise more or what if you raise
Oh
less?
yeah, yeah,
You're becoming
yeah,
like not serious in the eyes of a founder. So
yeah. And
just keep,
become tricky.
yeah.
And so basically to raise this capital through the SPV, basically you had like a group of your SPVs. How did you manage that? Or every time you were reaching out to every single person?
We actually focused, I mean, we invested a good portion of its SPV of our own money.
Sure.
So it was super obvious to anybody that we had a
A
very, very
strong feeling about that.
in the
Sure.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first important thing. And the second is that we were focusing mainly on friends and family or
Hmm.
people that understand technology. So it
Yeah.
was not a difficult sell for us. It was
Sure.
not like we were not pitching to anybody or we were not trying to open this.
Hmm.
It's pretty selective with people that knew us,
Yeah.
trusted us. We have worked together in the past. So was very,
Yeah.
very,
It was easier for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. And then so basically after this SPV experience, you come up with EverCurious basically thesis. How was the raising part with the LP? Any selection on the geography of the LPs and yeah, thesis around that.
We have actually LPs from all around Europe.
Okay.
However, we have as an anchor investor the Sovereign Fund of Funds of Greece. And
Oh, you already have a fund of fund. Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, it's like the Sovereign Fund of Greece
Sure.
practically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this made us, I mean, this gave already direction. So there were like some Greek family offices and high net worth individuals that jumped on the board because if they see the fund of the local fund, practically sovereign fund investing in you, this creates the credibility.
Yeah.
You, but this didn't limit us like 100% to Greece.
Hmm.
Because, like, and this is also where practically our thesis and our approach comes in the game when we speak about like a more pan-European strategy, is the
Yeah.
fact we see that European countries should like complement each other than compete with each other.
Yeah.
We're way too small practically to compete at global scale. And
Yeah.
of course, Greece is even smaller, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, for me, is like what matters most is practically what is the value that you can add to a startup. So the fact that we are in Greece and the fact that we are one of the very, very few regional funds or funds in the region, not regional funds, funds in the region that have a hardware deep tech focus.
Yeah.
Good thing is that this gives us access to talented people from the universities, etc. And of course, it's always different if you want to hire like new engineers in Switzerland,
Hmm.
example, or in Greece. Of course, the salaries and everything is going to be different. But it's not only about the salaries. You might be able to hire the same person with a different salary in Switzerland and Greece, or you might be able actually to find talented people here. Because an interesting fact, for example, for me in Greece is that there are, in the meantime, there are players and big players in different fields like energy, etc. But I don't see so many companies doing something really disruptive in the field of deep tech, etc.
Sure.
An engineer finishing his studies, and coming out from the university, if they want to do something, I would say, in the field of space tech, most probably they have to go to Munich.
Yeah.
But what if a German company has a Greek subsidiary here in order to attract this kind of talent?
Hmm.
So this is what we're trying to bring in the game. Like, and access to talent, in my opinion, or in our opinion, is one of the most critical and important part of the startup. So if we can help them solve this,
Hmm.
not only about for us investing an X amount of money, is
Yeah.
also about adding value through giving access to talent and perhaps through supporting our companies start some proof of concept, some paid pilots here. So
Yeah.
this is practically our approach on how we want to tap into the opportunities that the local market has. But
Mm.
independent from that, we do not have any kind of local thinking
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, restriction. Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. Um, and yeah, basically, how was the fundraising part for you? Was it tough? Was it, is always sometime tough? Yeah, from what I heard
actually
from other people.
I can tell you like a very interesting fact. I mean, Poland has experienced this before. For example, that suddenly much money is invested in the field of venture
Mm-hmm.
because the market was not mature enough. So they're now trying to boost practically the market. And suddenly too many funds were created. Now, also in Poland, we are landing in a situation where there is again like consolidation.
Yeah,
So we have been raising our first fund, or we raised our first fund a year ago when everything was in a state where every single week you have heard about a new fund that wanted the new like team that wanted to raise a fund, right?
yeah,
So there was much skepticism from potential LPs because too many new potential managers were appearing, pitching, etc. So there was a lot of skepticism.
mm-hmm.
To add on this skepticism was the fact that, I mean, we had some networking in Greece, of course, because we have been both Alex and myself, we grew up here, etc. So and studied here. But at the same time, both of us have been living more than 10 years abroad.
Yeah,
So coming back, you have to kind of reactivate your network.
mm-hmm.
So this was also a challenge because people didn't knew us.
Yeah,
We were
yeah,
totally new in the market without connections. And of course, in smaller markets like Greece, this plays a role.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, in every market, it plays a role, but the smaller the market, the more important practically this kind of micro network is at the end of the day, right? So these were the two main barriers for us to raise the fund.
mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it worked. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the fund size that like we did our first closing at 12.5 million.
sure.
So for this kind of fund size, it was manageable. And at the end of the day, we raised the fund within like 7 months.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
yeah.
quick.
It
But
was
again,
quick.
to
Yeah,
be pragmatic, the amount is small, right? So the AUM was small.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. And now, in terms of your education, do you think that having like a PhD has been fundamental to start a fund?
Not necessarily,
Yeah,
but I feel like the PhD, in my opinion, it's not a proof of being super smart, clever, whatever, but it's a proof
that you
of
can
being
go
able to
deep
work
enough.
structured and disciplined. I mean, and of course, it gives you like when it comes to your CV, etc., credibility.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think that for me, like the main lesson in the PhD that I can tell you like a simple example. Um, I was writing my dissertation, which is practically a book of 150 pages. Of course, back at that time without ChatGPT and Notebook
Yeah.
LM,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So I was writing this book, or I had to write this book in parallel to being a project manager for T-Rock.
Yeah.
So I realized that I said, okay, like afternoons or late evenings, actually, I'm going to write 2 pages per day. Never worked because I
Sure.
was concentrated enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're realizing that you're coming at your limits.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to be disciplined enough to sometimes take holidays and to work every single weekend very, very long and very, very focused on this
Yeah.
because I didn't have any other chance
Mm-hmm.
to to do this. So I learned practically like the hard way, how important it is and how why like every minute counts. Because
Mm-hmm.
every minute you have to invest it in writing a page rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
like doing this and that, etc. So this is what I gained actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and all these characteristics, I think at the end of the day, are translated into something
Sure.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do your whatever job, right?
Yeah, yeah, but also for PhD is like very specific knowledge on a very specific vertical, so it doesn't give you I mean the overall of being able also to evaluate other field is more about I believe is more curiosity and learning constantly, right?
Agree. I agree. And I mean, honestly, I hear people that finishing a PhD saying, okay, now I'm an expert. No, you cannot be an expert
Yeah,
in a field after 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Possible.
So
You need to
yeah,
stick around for 20 years to be an expert. So I don't consider myself as an expert in anything.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
a
yeah,
curious generalist.
I believe it demonstrates your ability to go deep enough to find out a solution and being able to learn, but you have to learn constantly, I believe. And you can be outperformed if you don't keep yourself updated, I believe. Awesome. And so basically on deep tech, which verticals are you excited about in this period?
I mean, there are many things that I'm excited about, to be honest.
Yeah,
Sometimes I have to make sure that I don't become too excited about technologies. So this is important as well. But I think like space tech is something that
sure.
fascinates me. Um, but it's not like the field where I have much know-how, also when it comes to the industry, but it's very, very fascinating. And I
Yeah, yeah,
think that,
yeah.
and honestly, like I don't know much, but I feel like being a fast learner because I understand the principles
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
makes the
Also
whole thing
talking
very
with a lot
interesting.
of founders, you get a sense of the scene and you get better for sure.
And when it comes to more traditional stuff, like everything around industrial technology is super interesting. Like industrial applications
Yeah.
from that have to do like clean energy, but with application in the industry, industrial field, robotics, and application of industrial field and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So
Sure.
that's why I think that we had also a debate and a very interesting discussion with my co-GP with Alex about like how you split into like, is it about sectors or is it about technologies? Because at the end of the day, you might understand specific technologies better, but not the application in specific sector. So if you understand robotics, it doesn't mean that you can understand robotics for a surgery, for surgeons, for example, right? So everything is the combination between like what technologies you understand and in what sectors this technology is applied.
Sure.
I think a very interesting opportunity is when you find a technology that works and try to transfer it from the one sector to the other. This kind of technology transfer is super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I think is pretty cool. Do you want to mention anything like in industrial automation, for example, anything that you saw recently that you thought it was super cool? If it came to your mind
I think,
or any startup you that recently sparked your attention.
I mean, I've seen many startups where I said, okay, wow. I mean, okay, everything that's around, like for example, fusion energy
Yeah.
is super interesting.
Yeah.
I cannot say that I understand it 100%, but it excites me, right? So
Hmm.
all the different startups that I have seen, Proxima, for example, etc., super interesting.
Yeah.
The question is like,
Did you invest in Proxima or
no, no, no. But it was also way before practically like our
yeah.
we haven't been up and running back at the time, but it would have been super interesting in investing something like that. We have invested, for example, in a company called SolidWatts. It's a spin-off
Yeah.
of CERN, doing industrial heating with microwaves,
Okay.
with actually like RF radio frequency. So for me, the interesting thing in this case is that, and this is also part of again of a mindset, it's more down to earth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not Proxima. It's not such like groundbreaking thing, but from discussions with potential customers or existing customers, they were the only ones in the position to provide a solution at 10 kilowatt, scale it
Hmm.
100 kilowatt, and eventually be in the position to do it at a megawatt scale. And
Sure.
it's a great alternative and a much greener alternative to gas furnaces.
Yeah.
So, and another like interesting dimension is that I really do believe in green energy, clean technologies, etc. But to make this technology become established, you need cost parity with
Sure.
existing. So you do not have to depend yourself on a green premium, etc., or,
Hmm.
or carbon credits or whatever. And I think that this case, for example, is exactly the case where I say, okay, this technology makes sense without the green premium. If the green premium comes on top, then the whole thing becomes super interesting.
Sure.
So this is the approach generally that we want to have. And in such cases, we're looking like the technology is very, very interesting because also if you see the lab, etc., it's again a case where of technology transfer because the guys, the founders, have actually developed this technology within CERN for
Hmm.
different applications for particle accelerators,
Yeah.
and they have seen that this technology can be applied actually in industrial environments and fields for heating.
Oh, yeah.
So this kind of technology transfer is what really excites me because I think that there is a technology that is proven
Yeah.
and now you have to transfer it to a different field. The
Hmm.
difficult thing in this case is that you have to educate your market.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Got it. Super interesting. Coming to future plan, do you have any specific goal for the future? Beside from investing, obviously, I believe you want to grow the fund, but also beside from the fund, any future goal on your side?
Many, to be honest,
Yeah.
but one thing that comes to my mind is that alongside the fund, I would like to try to start one or maximum two venture building projects.
Okay.
So I would like to find very, very good scientists, entrepreneurs, however you name it,
Mm-hmm.
that are willing to take their scientific knowledge and translate it into business. And they need this kind of support because they're focusing on the technology. But I want this to be like a really, really groundbreaking technology.
Yeah. That changed the status quo.
And yeah, I mean, to be honest, as an investor, sometimes like you miss the
The
part of
action. The action.
operating
Yeah.
yourself. So I'm not claiming that I'm not going to do both, but
Or like
I think
a studio
yeah,
approach.
as a fund, like starting one or two maximum two, like venture studio projects is
Mm-hmm.
something that I always like play around with in my mind.
Sure.
But again, like without creating distraction, it has to be something like complementary that fits to our portfolio approach, right?
Yeah. 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 That's super
So I
cool.
think that this is a short to mid-term target, and of course, the mid to long is actually like creating the basis now for our through our portfolio, etc., for a fund two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, a fund two in this case most probably is going to be something where we said, okay, rather than having a more right now in our first fund, we're focusing on investing in 20 to 25 companies. I think that in the fund two, I would like to reduce the amount of companies, but increase the ticket size
Got it. Right
and be
now,
a bit
how
more
much?
concentrated.
Right now, what is your ticket? 100,
So
200?
we're investing actually 3 to 500K
Okay.
initially, and we do have also follow-on reserves. So at the end of the day, if we consider also the follow-on, we would like ideally to have an allocation of around 1 million per company.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't have any specific reasoning around the percentage of, I mean, oh,
We don't have specific equity targets, to be
sure.
honest. For me,
I don't believe it makes a lot of sense. I understand it for a lead investor, maybe,
sure,
but you want to be in the good companies and don't care too much about the ownership,
I agree.
I
I agree.
believe.
And I mean, and this is also another discussion that everybody says, okay, keep high follow-on reserves in order not to get diluted. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the follow-on investment is a new investment, right? Where you
Yeah.
have like a different valuation. So you have again to reassess, does it make sense? So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
a call.
It's always a new, I mean, obviously with follow on also in our fund, we obviously start the due diligence from scratch again. For example, now we are reviewing like a space company we invested and there's a follow on opportunity, but from our analysis, we are going to pass.
Yeah,
So there are many investors that keep investing. We don't believe in that. You need to consider that every case by case
I agree.
and see if it really is improving the team and technology and evolution. Awesome. Any last advice, any last feedback from your experience you want to share with the network?
I don't know. I mean, the only like, I don't want to say advice, feedback is that, I mean, I think I'm still young, of course. So I
Yeah, yeah.
don't have any like
You're
wise
you're in your
advice.
30s, right? In your
I am
30s?
37, 37.
Okay.
So I don't have like any wise man's advice that I can give, but what I can say is that don't be afraid to try new things. Try, like if you are in your 20s, early 30s, try to do as many different things as possible to find out what excites you most, what you love,
Yeah,
and then stick to this
yeah.
and
And
try to
keep
make,
going until you make it.
yeah.
Obviously, that is the part that's taught many people. Awesome. That's all. Thanks a lot, George. I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
taking the time. And yeah, let's keep in touch and let's do great stuff. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Have a good one.